you're on the Tech Alpha team, then you have no doubt been exploring the wonderful world of Microsoft Flight Simulator already. If not, then I'm afraid the wait just got a whole lot harder, as version 1.2.5 of the simulator has just been made available for those in the Tech Alpha. Now, for the first time, those patch notes have been made available to the public, and in this video we're going to cover everything that those patch notes said, what it means, and how this is a significant update to those currently in the alpha process. Before I start, I just want to mention that FSElite are still looking for new content creators to join our amazing team. If you want to produce videos like this, write about your experiences, or be involved in social media posting, then hit up the link down in the description to apply today. So in this blog post from Microsoft, they firstly thank the community for providing feedback throughout the alpha testing process. The feedback has helped shape the changelog in various sections so that it is easily digested by the community and focuses on what's important to those who have contributed feedback. Now, that first section of the changelog is all focused on new content. So as mentioned in the previous update, the Cessna 152 is now included for those in the Tech Alpha. First introduced in 1977, the Cessna 152 is an incredibly versatile aircraft that is used throughout the world for many reasons, with one primary function as a flight training aircraft, which links in very nicely to the fact that there are new training missions which have been included with this new Tech Alpha release. This will teach new pilots with the basics of controls, altitudes, instruments, as well as taking new pilots through the basics of takeoff, level flight and landing. Now, we imagine many of those training packs will be designed with real life instructions in mind, considering a lot of the Asobo team are currently undertaking their private pilot license. After you're done learning, you can take on the new Sedona landing challenge, which is also new content. Speaking of events, Microsoft has now enabled the live events, which will be swapped out on different types. Now, the final part of the new content section focused on what was mentioned during last week's feature discovery video, multiplayer. The new 1.2.5 update has added in groups functionality to the multiplayer, and also the ability to add and find friends on the world map, with easy functionality on simply joining them as well for the flight. You can learn more about multiplayer and the one shared world in our previous video, and again, that link is down in the description below. Now, sticking with the multiplayer component, various other tweaks and fixes were also made for version 1.2.5 of the alpha build for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Friends are now represented by an icon in the free flight world map, and in-game traffic nameplates now apply to other users who are also flying online. Finally, player representation is now included, which means anyone using your plane will show up in the same aircraft as yours, but if they're using a different aircraft, then they will appear as a generic aircraft. Now, this does seem similar to what we see in different types of online networks such as vPilot, whereby you select a default aircraft as someone to appear, as you should not have that aircraft in your own collection. I could be wrong, but if you have different thoughts, leave a comment down below. Moving on to aircraft, as I mentioned, the Cessna 152 is now included, but that hasn't stopped Microsoft from improving the others that have already been included in the Tech Alpha. Both the DA62 and the TBM 930 have both seen flight model improvements. Icing fixes and other improvements have also been made in general across the fleet, and according to the patch notes, glass cockpits have also had multiple bug fixes, with grass, trees and clouds no longer visible from within the plane. Now, we think that means it just won't be able to enter the cockpit, not so much that you literally won't be able to see anything from outside of the cockpit, as that would be quite a weird fix. Now, on the subject of planes, of course, everyone is asking, where are the jets? Right now, Asobo and Microsoft are still continuing to work hard to put the final touches to the core functionality and getting it right before they are cleared for departure. Once they're ready, we've been told we'll be kept in the loop. Now, back to the changelog for flight modelling. The handling and the friction model have been improved for more accurate behaviour on the ground, and to give you more details, let me read exactly what was said on the Microsoft blog post. We have worked on some of the causes for the ground instability. In FSX, ground effect was calculated once per aircraft at the CG of the aircraft. The closer the CG got to the ground, the more the aircraft's lift coefficient was scaled up to 25%. To get more realism, we changed this to calculate the ground effect separately for each surface of the aircraft. This reflects better reality, as one wing may be closer to the ground than the other, which then is impacted by more ground effect. Also, because the FSX ground effect was still referring to the CG coordinates, we now calculate the collision distance between each individual surface and the ground. With this fix, we now get a different and better lift coefficient scale for each surface. This helps ground stability because when the plane starts rolling on one side, that side immediately gets closer to the ground and gets more ground effect. The other side immediately loses that ground effect, and this tends to push the aircraft back toward a level horizontal position. Next, I want to talk a bit more about airports and some of the newly added ones that were missing from the previous build. In the patch notes, a long list of airports were purportedly missing but have now been added to version 1.2.5 of the new alpha build for Microsoft Flight Simulator. These airports include Boston, Singapore, Phoenix, Catania, George Bush Intercontinental Airport, Beijing Capital Airport, and many more. In total, 13 airports have been added back into the Tech Alpha build. Alongside with these newly added airports, bug fixes including removed buildings, vegetation on runways, and improvements to the airport life itself. Alongside the newly added airports, bug fixes including removing of buildings and vegetation on runways, improvements to airport life, air traffic behaviour improvements, and changes to where aircraft park at the airport. Whilst on the subject of aircraft movements, ATC general improvements have been made along with options and application of flight. Beyond airports, the rest of the world has seen numerous updates to improve various aspects. In the changelog, we see that there have been various visual improvements to the grass, and that the wind will now impact both grass and trees. One of the biggest changes is this newly updated autogen for the buildings in the world, which are now much more realistic in representation. Add this to the new lighting and additional lighting to the photogrammetric cities, and this sim continues to see huge visual improvements. For those worried about offline flying, then rest assured as the new alpha version sees offline texture improvements also. Finally, it has been confirmed that wind turbines are now added to the world for those who use them during VFR flying. Seeing this beautiful world would be impossible without then having a good camera system. Fortunately, Microsoft has listened to that feedback and provided various changes to the camera system. New controls have been added to translate the camera left or right, 4 new quick views have been added, and an all-new smart camera to lock onto other players will help you keep track whilst flying online with friends. For those of you who want to adjust the camera, you can now do so via the new camera speed and momentum tweaking direct from the UI. And speaking of the UI, various changes have been made in the free world flight map. For example, weather, traffic and multiplayer settings are now in the flight conditions panel. Various improvements have also been made to the flight planning settings, world map navigation and search functionality, along with a fix to the world map VFR and IFR selection. The control menu has also been updated, along with the ability for users to now create and manage multiple input presets based on each device. One of the final parts of the changelog, but equally as important to Microsoft, is the use of peripherals in the new flight simulator. By default, Microsoft has now included default input presets for a wide range of products from manufacturers including Thrustmaster, Logitech, Virtualfly and Honeycomb. So now your Virtualfly Yoke of the Yoke Plus or your Thrustmaster TBM pedals will now work without any input from the user who are involved in the new Tech Alpha. Finally, the team said that there is overall stability and performance improvements, multiple improvements to the autopilot and the auto throttles, and finally how the weather is also displayed has been improved. To wrap up, version 1.2.5 is an extensive change for those currently using the alpha of Microsoft Flight Simulator. The team has said they will continue to work on feedback for those involved and look forward to hearing about what you have to say about the latest update. There are still plenty of improvements and work to be done, but the team will continue to keep the whole community updated as and when things happen. This is really exciting to finally have some idea of what's going on in the Tech Alpha build out in the public. What is the feature in this update you think sounds most exciting? What are you most looking forward to doing in Microsoft Flight Simulator once it's released? Drop a comment down below and let us know what you think. Now finally, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell and give this video a like if it helped. Don't forget, we're also looking for FSElite content creators to help make videos just like this, write amazing content, and also help us share the news with our social media platforms. If it sounds like something that's interesting to you, then hit that link down in the description below. That's it from me today. Thank you for watching and see you next time.